We are checking in weekly here with the adventures of Dale and Jerry. And morning, gang.
Hey, hi, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff.
Busy checking out your calendar, huh?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
busy social calendar.
I'm looking in the rearview mirror on the calendar today because this is a summer week. This is kind of a quiet week.
And it's his favorite vantage point.
And we talk,
And the rearview mirror is my favorite vantage.
talk about the news. It's stuff that happened.
Yeah, well, so we went to the Highway 3 ribbon cutting,
Yeah.
which was very cool,
Saw you
and
in
a
the
great
video.
turnout, and just such a pleasant experience to drive through Belfair now.
Yeah.
A totally different thing. You know, all those cones are gone, and there's nobody flagging traffic, and it's just like pleasant.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And the other thing you notice is with the curbs and sidewalks and that, there's a lot of older buildings there, and which equates to kind of like opportunity for new businesses, new buildings to be constructed. And if we see what happened like in Mud Bay, on the Mud Bay side, and how quickly that populated and grew, and so we're really excited and hopeful that Mason County has at least one experience of that.
That was a good one. The next day, there was the ribbon cutting at Tractor Supply, another
Correct,
great
yeah.
Mason County accomplishment to get that in.
It's on my list of things to do today.
Go stop by and see what's going
Yeah,
on.
I want to check out the new store.
Yeah,
check
he
out
wants
the
to finger
coverall.
the boots.
Check out the overall prices there. too.
Okay, I'll check
That's
for
what
you. I
first-
see yours is getting that good rugged look to them
They're
now.
getting worn in finally.
Yeah, it takes a couple of years, doesn't it? Yeah. You don't look
so
like a
comfortable.
farmer just instantly.
No, you got to put some work into it.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
What
So-
else has been going on?
So we did all that.
How was the eclipse for you guys?
And the eclipse was kind of, I'll tell you what I came away with on the eclipse.
Oh boy.
The temperature dropped
Oh, that's what we were-
substantially.
that was like the only thing we cared about.
I went out and got a sweater or went in and got a sweater and came back out. It
was cold.
I couldn't believe how much the temperature dropped. And Jerry says that's what it would feel like if the old sun went away. And it would be like,
I mean, it's the same temperature as nighttime or as right after dusk, I guess. But you just don't think about it.
That was the
Right.
biggest thing that I got from that.
That was so
deal.
impressive.
Yeah.
Did you have
And
glasses?
I did
We
post.
did the cereal box thing. Thank you, Jeff, for your
that was-
instructional
that was a
video.
fun
It
video.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And
cool.
I did finally post things. I haven't been real good as normal about posting timely what we've done, but I did put a post of Dale there with his.
Look great.
Yeah, but so bright, and the grandkids were there, so they had
Bright, yeah, that's
had a
grandkids,
fun
right?
time.
Yeah.
Fun time.
They were bright.
How was
Happy-
Ladies of Caliber on Sunday?
Great.
Tell me
Ryan
about it.
Sperling did a great job of identifying different defense things that you could do in defense, and he also identified how the movie gun hold versus our gun hold is different.
Oh, yeah.
And also how people take guns away from you, because was kind of my fear. I get a gun, somebody will take it away from me and shoot me with it.
Sure.
And how to protect yourself from it, and just the different moves. And also the other takeaway was the matter of in your mind, so you have to kind of experience and practice what you would do in certain cases. He says, because what happens is that when it happens to you, people have talked about how their life flashes in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what your brain actually does in a emergency situation is, and then it goes flip, 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 flip through the files to find out a prior incident that you might apply to that. And if there's nothing there, then you're just kind of still waiting for it. But so that practice instinct or behavior of what you do, and so that was the whole idea of practicing and whatnot.
So in every situation, our brain looks for a reference point, and if we
Correct.
don't find that, that's why we flash through the whole of our lives there.
We're looking
because
for
we're
something.
looking for something.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never
Right.
heard that before.
Right.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. And of course, Chief Deputy Sperling's done so many of these trainings throughout his entire career, especially with like the State Patrol and that. And some of the things have actually changed, in terms of what you do, like in the schools. Now, the schools have different practice. It's, if you can close off a door and hide and get away from an intruder or what, you do that. and if you can run away, you would do that. But sometimes you have to face that, and it's that fight or flight or hide, or so there's all kinds of different reactions to have, even in a restaurant, and when you're out to dinner or whatever. Always be aware of your surroundings. It was a great class, and then we got to shoot again, and I brought my target back. I should bring it in here, and we could frame it, because I got all of them in the midsection.
Nice.
He doesn't mess with Texas here now.
She's got kind of a silhouette. That was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nicer target. Yeah, so she did a good job.
Cool.
She had a nice cluster right there in the middle where she's supposed to, and she came away with she's a better shooter now than she was 2 weeks ago.
Well,
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Yeah, but this was a different gun. I borrowed Lynn Ludemann's gun, and she brought it there for me, and it had a little scope, or a little target on it with a laser.
Oh, that
in
helps.
that, and so
That
you,
helps.
yeah, absolutely. So you just get the laser there if you can get your gun level enough that you.
Yeah, you see how shaky
Yeah,
you are.
yeah. Oh, geez, yeah. But I wasn't nearly as shaky the second time, and I did fire off, boom, boom, boom. The last ones I did, because they only give you 5
Right.
that you can shoot off, and I did do those pretty rapidly. And Lynn says, "Well, you don't have to worry about speed. We got plenty of time." I said, "No, I just, how you want to
Sure.
see
I mean,
that."
if you're in that situation, that's likely what you would do.
And then
Right.
and she kept the cluster tight
Oh,
doing
good.
that,
Yeah,
which
that's-
is really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We are going into the Sela Inn up in Belfair today, this evening, for Clamalot, which is, I think it's the President's Circle or something, some
Yeah.
level of support there for the North Mason Chamber. So this is their little annual sit along the shores of Hood Canal and have some oysters and clams and
Oh, fun.
talk with other folks and just kind of do a little mingling, very relaxed.
No
fun.
agenda or anything.
Now, I heard Patrice do the weather 70, 73 this afternoon,
Yeah.
so that'll be okay.
Yeah.
Cool,
It's a little chilly and cloudy this morning. Misty on the way, and hit the windshield wipers.
Yeah.
So
The other thing I posted, Jeff, was about the day of caring.
Yeah.
While we didn't go out and help anybody else clean up their junk, we figured we'd start at home.
we help the world
Yeah.
globally.
It's our local.
Yeah,
Think
and,
local.
You
Act
you
global.
forget how long you have this stuff. You just kind of ignore it, especially if you can close a door on it. You don't have to look at it.
Man.
And we ended up, taking about 3 pickup loads to the
Hoodsport Fire Department.
free dump site.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In Hoodsport, yeah. And some of it came from our storage, Suncrest storage, but I think I want to rename it Cramalot because we sure had a lot of stuff crammed in.
Yeah,
And then we had another load of just metals, because they weren't accepting metals
Yeah.
for that. So we took another load of metals yesterday, didn't we, or the day
Yes.
before?
No, it was
Yeah.
yesterday.
Good for you.
So 4 truckloads of
Or day
stuff that we'll never see or use again.
And you probably didn't really see a lot of it to begin with.
No, and you know what? It didn't really make a big. I mean, it made a dent, but
There's
It's
more to
of,
do.
It's more of a mental dent.
Yeah.
You go, boy, we just got rid of a lot of good stuff.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We did a dump run this week, and afterwards
Feel good.
you feel
Great.
good.
By the way, there's some old withered balloons in your garbage in the alley this morning. So retirement.
Oh,
balloons.
okay.
They've been in my car, but
They're still full.
they're still floating. Some of them. So
So
have
you open
another
up
party
and
then.
get a
we
surprise.
can have another party. I'm always down for that.
7:49. All right, gang. Is that it then? Are you gonna work on other things, Jerry, coming up this week?
Well, today I want to see if I can't go talk to some of the electeds and department heads to find out what instructions they've received from the commission as to spending priorities or whatnot. Because I'm doing a little bit of research prior to going to do a public comment, but I think a lot of the people here in the county should comment on their thoughts about the tax increase. We know we've heard testimony or comment from prior to the commission voting to put this on the ballot about the willingness to support the criminal justice system, make sure that they have police officers out there that or sheriff's officers that respond when they call. But there was no mention of willingness to support additional administrative costs, i.e. general fund support services and that. And if you take a look at what we have on the website and the comments, that are associated with it, they are pro safety, public safety, but not so much as the support services, which the general feeling there is that's serving the commission and not the public. And the whole purpose of our government is to provide public health, public safety, and services to the public. And what we see is some of those service departments, like the auditor, like the treasurer, like the clerk, like the assessor, they're cutting heads and services that the public needs. And support services is cutting heads as well. However, just recently they've so they cut 9 positions and created 3 new ones, which were a matter of 2 of the positions that they were newly created were a lesser grade of the same job. Mm-hmm. So they cut 6 positions, and that typically support the commission, but we haven't seen what their priorities are is in terms of that, and could they cut more? Because, as every small business, every business figures out, then when the spending and the money gets tight, you not only look for spending priorities, you also look for how to do things differently. So I'm interested in seeing if the commissioners gave some specific guidelines.
Well,
I'm going to get a haircut today.
Some days
always an
people do
adventure
other
when I
things.
go over there. So
All right. Yeah, I like it. Dale and Jerry, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you,
to
Jeff.
see you guys.
All right.
Always good to be here.
7:52. Are You Experienced by Jimi Hendrix turns 50 today. Here's more from ABC. Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. And the other thing, Jeff, I kept saying that we were going to talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to get to it next time.
We're out of time.
Darn, we're just out of time.
Next Wednesday, everybody.
We did have Caleb, our intern, on the air yesterday for his first time.
Yeah,
Talking
Jerry
about
heard him
it.
do
Yeah,
the
he
weather
did
and did a good job.
For
Yeah.
sure, and some of Jeff's goals
All
and
right.
objectives.
Quickly, you can read
Speaking
this.
of goals and
So they found my cover letter from, what's the date on that?
this one, there was no date on this.
Throw it away.
Look at the post office.
So April, I bet it would have been April, maybe May.
April 4th of 06.
April 4 of 06.
Yes, and
year
you
is
found
this?
us while visiting
11
our
years ago.
website.
Yeah.
So we had the
years ago.
website up. However, you have been very instrumental in changing that. But his professional goal, an announcer position with a range of responsibilities for establishing an established radio station with full service format. So he kind of wanted a whole range of
I
responsibilities.
should
I
have been a
think
little more specific.
detail.
Probably so. but
Well, now I got a
Because-
lot
now
more.
you got all of
A
them.
lot
Now you got
more.
all the responsibilities.
And how much of it has to do with announcing?
You were living on Humphrey Street at the time.
Sure. Yeah, over by Morse Merriman, they're going to put a roundabout in over there.
Are they?
Got a whole bunch
Maybe
of
you
stuff.
should
That's
move
right
back
by the
there.
LBA Woods, that whole big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
So you also claim to be a hardworking person.
Yeah.
Well.
Little.
See a little to use.
You got to embellish those resumes
It's a
and
resume.
cover letters.
Okay, and
yeah.
here's
the
one
first
that
one.
Caleb can identify with. With 1 month in the program, I was reading my first newscast and hosting my first hour program.
That
and
was just a
continued-
month in?
Yeah.
wow.
That was a month in.
Month in, you were already a
Yeah.
professional pronouncer.
You
We were telling. I don't know. Did you guys ever do this? Here's when we were showing Caleb some of the newscasts and how we used to rip and read from the teletype, and
Yeah.
so we said, back in the day, you read the news, you got to be pretty, straight when you read the news. We would have people come in while you're reading it and light the copy on fire.
Just so you can stay on task.
So
and,
just to
yeah.
kind of help you focus and maintain with distractions going on. We didn't do any of that, of course. but-
My broadcast school director
yeah.
had his wife come on to him in the window in front of the studio while you're reading your final newscast for your final grade.
Oh my gosh.
And she's all over him. And you got to keep reading.
Yeah, and you're looking,
Oh, yeah.
of course.
He had a hottie.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And he did intern. You say that you interned for KGY Radio.
Yeah.
and you took a position hosting karaoke at
people know about
Hannah's,
that,
and from there asked to be an announcer DJ at the Vault.
Vault.
And this was to improve your voice work.
The Vault. Whoa! So now it's what level down in
It's
downtown
Olympia's largest nightclub.
based
That
on
at the
square footage?
time? Yeah.
Olympia's most popular nightclub based on square footage.
Well, you didn't put, put popular.
That's
on
okay.
it.
All right, we gotta go.
All right, more of Jeff's old adventures next week.
And
sounds
next
like a
week, maybe
plan.
we can do the voice
I think
check
we'll
that you
get the
said.
air check in there.
Or air check.
gosh.
whatever
All right.
you call it.
See y'all next week. Thank you, Jeff.
guys.